Thanks for staying with us. According to reports, 20 deposit money banks began the implementation of the Central Bank of Nigeria's new cash withdrawal limit policy across the country, with the bank customers expressing anger and displeasure over the new rule. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Joining us on the conversation is a concerned citizen like us. He's a lawyer, Mr. Gabriel Irewele. He's also a lawyer of Partner Rock Legal. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you. And we wanted to bring you to join the conversation because we wanted to have a discussion on this policy. Many Nigerians are complaining that this is another attempt of government to rob them of their hard-earned money. It's another policy of government to benefit the rich, because according to many people, the rich will always get their money if they want it anyway. But this really affects the poor. So we thought to bring you as a citizen to express your views on this. Do you think the policy is good? And if it is, why is it good for people? Or if you don't think it's good, how do you think we can benefit or we can improve on it to make it better?
Thank you, Mariah. Thank you, ladies, of your view. The policy is one of the best policies, as far as I'm concerned, that the central bank has come up with. Why? Because it speaks to the issue of the problems, to my mind, that we have in the country. For example, the problems of corruption. Because usually people say, oh, Nigeria is very corrupt. And I wonder why. How? How can you move millions of dollars? How is that possible? Because it's possible because these cash are somehow taken out of the financial system. That's how corruption thrives. Also, if you look at the issues of kidnapping, it's such a serious. About 2 weeks ago, someone called me, a friend of mine, that one of our friends was kidnapped and we're raising money. And eventually, 20 million naira was taken in cash. Eventually, it was released. I asked myself, how? How is this allowed to happen? So the policy of the central bank, to my mind, just went to the real issues of what bothers us. Now, the poor, I don't know how it affects the poor. For example, I don't see myself as being rich. For a very long time, I can't remember when I went into the bank or how to handle cash. For transactions as not as high as 5,000 naira, I transfer. So, and I think there is enough technology to handle cashless environment, like the central bank had planned to come up with this policy. So when people complain, actually, when I was told to be here, it's an opportunity to interrogate what the complaints are.
Okay, so let's start with the complaints. I'll come to talk about because one of the complaints is that businesses are having issues. I was reading the papers today, somebody was saying, I'm a cash business. How do I transact? There's sometimes I just need this money, loose cash, but let me come to...
Yes, we're just even saying that the ecosystem that would allow for a cashless system has not been put in place. We have people who, sometimes you go to make a transaction and network is down, app is not working. You're now going back and forth. You have somehow... knowing that you can get cash is a backup. Now, if we can't get cash or as much cash as we need to do a transaction, where does that leave us? So we're saying, have we put all the other things necessary to make a cashless system possible?
Well, that's a very valid point. And I assume the central bank should have thought about the ecosystem. In fact, before now, I've always been wondering, why is it that when failed transactions happen online, electronic transaction, there's no protocol? I know people have mistakenly transferred to other accounts, so you can't get your money back. As far as I know, there's no protocol. So it's an opportunity for the central bank to now put the right protocol in place when these things happen. Now, for the person that says it's a cash, I don't know anybody that does cash transaction. The purpose of banks is to keep cash for you. So if you are not integrated into the banking sector, I don't really know the kind of business you are doing.
I think you are talking from, which I find is the problem of most of us. Everybody talks from my own perspective. This is how it bothers me. Nobody looks at the bigger picture of how it bothers other people. And that's one of the problems Nigeria is facing today. Because you don't do cash transaction. So you don't see why any other person needs to do cash transaction. There's this woman, there's a video of this woman on Instagram. had been keeping her money. And she said, armed robber did not come and rob her. They say cashless. She now carry her 600,000 and put it inside the bank. Fraudsters have carried the money. So she's there displaying, crying in the bank.
No.
Wait, let me finish. Nobody even paid her any attention. They just, everyone was just going about their business, and the woman was there screaming. Now, you want to do cashless. You have not put everything in place. My own, go with your cashless. It should be, yeah, it's even better. Go with cashless. But you have not put everything in place to make sure that you transit to the cashless system properly. Now we talk about banks. When I was growing up, you are doing a bank a favor by keeping your money inside the bank. Because the banks use your money to do business. Now, you keep your money inside the bank. You will pay account maintenance charge because your money needs servicing. They need to wash your money, so you will pay account maintenance charge. You will pay POS charge. You will pay transfer charge. You will pay stamp duty. There are about 4 or 5 different things that you pay. So now the bank is doing you a favor by keeping your own money. Many people don't want to go through. Explain to me why I should have to pay all these charges. Why must I? If I have 10,000 and inside you take 2,000 because you must take account maintenance, you must take POS, you must take transfer duty, you must take stamp duty. Come on. So for me, central bank have not put in the right measures to stop fraud. Now you say the cashless. Let me tell you, like that poor woman that is shouting for her 600,000. If I'm a millionaire or a billionaire and I want to take 500 million or 5 million or whatever million from the bank, your 15% will not affect me because I have billions and millions. It is me that have 2 million that I come and I say I want to take 500,000 and then you charge me 15% of that, my 2 million. I will feel it.
Okay, let us tackle this. Because so we've seen that clip, but we've not seen the full story. We don't know what the bank has done. We need to confirm because it's easy to just see a clip and say, oh, this is what happened. But it's possible the bank may have offered a solution that for somebody that's like, please, all the things that are speaking, just put my money back in the account. There are different levels. So we'd like to hear from the bank also to know exactly how that transpired and what has happened so far. But
I've had a conversation with a friend who did a transaction. She was debited twice, over 100,000 naira, double debit. And the person that said she only got one, the bank said, okay, we would process a reversal, and it took 3 months to get the money back. You know, so and
I have many stories like that.
I used my dollar card to try and shop on Macy's, and I was debited. Macy's cancelled my order because it did not get reflected. I did a complaint on my app twice, and somehow I didn't remember. By the time I got to the bank, they said there's a time lapse of 6 months, and if I did not do my complaint within 6 months, my transaction is invalid because it's a dollar transaction, and that's how my money goes. So I, like you, I believe strongly in the fact that the CBN have the right, intention, but we have an infrastructural deficit, which is the reason there are people kicking against it because they don't understand it. But another group of people are kicking because they've experienced the deficit of our structure. So our structure cannot handle this thing. We have banks. This is a move that would empower banks. It would enrich banks. And it would, to a large extent, keep us slave to the banking system. I'm into real estate. If somebody wants to do a transaction with me and the person is not in Nigeria, the person tries to issue a transfer money to me, and they said until the person shows up physically to do it. When the person came here to withdraw her pounds, they said there's no pounds available. There are many issues that are within. So they see that in reality. Yes, when people want to do transaction and they say the bank cannot fulfill it because they don't have enough money.
Before we go on a break.
So.
Okay,
what
you
are
are
thoughts
right.
on this? Because these are real Nigerian issues.
I only am in support of the policy, but you are very correct to say that the ecosystem doesn't exist. But to me, that is not a reason why the policy shouldn't work. It is a challenge for the central bank to put all these in place. For example, why would bank? Honestly, I don't even know why. The banks hold a responsibility for agreeing to keep my money. If, for example, fraudsters, like I saw that video, took that 600,000 away, there should be some level of insurance The bank can afford to give that lead. Once you investigate, you see that, okay, this lady wasn't careless, even if she was careless.
The bank was
The bank must be responsible, and that's why you have banks. So the central bank should put in place the right policies. I agree with you. They can't be charging all the commissions. In fact, right now, you don't even know what charge. The last one is electronic banking charge in my bank. And I'm wondering, I've been in one particular bank. So there should be a clear policy on what charges are allowed and what charges are not allowed.
So I have to go on a break because obviously there is issue of the charges, the CBN. There's issue of the intention of a policy.
Yeah.
There's the issue of sensitizing the public to understand why. So yes, it's a good idea, but is it the right timing? When we say it's not the right, there's never a right time to do the right thing. But let's go on a break. When we come back, we dig further and take some more phone calls on this. Stay with us. So we still have our lawyer as our guest. You know, we know you don't work for CBN. I know you're a financial analyst, but you just happen to join the conversation. You're Nigerian, concerned Nigerian who's joined the conversation. But I wanted us to separate and compartmentalize these issues. There's a general issue we all have with banks, which hopefully we can take on directly with CBN if we can get one of them to come on our show, because they really need to start this media tour with this policy. We've not seen any of them so far. But hopefully we'll discuss the issues we have generally with banks. We'll discuss, now I want us to focus on the policy, this cashless policy. And I understand very clearly, one thing that's been said critically, that we don't have the infrastructure to ensure that when I do go cashless, your money, you get your money and I get my money. If there's a problem or an infraction, I can always find succor in some kind of system to ensure that I get my money back. That's been stated. But the third point is that the objective of the policy, if indeed the infrastructure works, and there are ways to ensure that everybody gets their money if there's a transaction that goes bad, will it help Nigerians? That's what we want to understand here. With the intention, is it something that would help Nigerians if we fully understand the benefits of this policy?
I think based on what you had said earlier, for me that answers the question.
Yeah, so I think that it will help Nigeria, even as a country. It's going to almost eradicate our security problems, especially...
So it's focused on security issues, not really about us.
The issue of kidnapping is going to help that issue of kidnapping. It's going to reduce corruption, because it just helps the authorities to monitor movement of cash. That's all. Now, regarding how they execute the policy, there are gaps. I'm not a central bank, but I know that central banks should know that they have to put the right policies in place to ensure it works. For that lady that was complaining yesterday, I don't know how that can happen. Then all these charges should be streamlined so that you know. And why would you even do a transaction of 2,000 naira and you are being charged? It doesn't make sense. Right. Why would the central bank allow banks to charge for any transaction? Don't forget the main purpose and duty of bank is to keep your money and use it as credit so that they also make profit. So this double layer, most banks have now made that the main goal, transactional charges.
Yes.
So and when you look at their books, you'll find out that the profit margin on transaction is even higher. Almost some banks. That's why. But that central bank should not allow that to work. So that's their own. But I'm only speaking to the policy and the benefits of the policy.
So they're saying the benefits is just for as you said, help in security, reduce corruption.
Criminality.
Well, they said it will also help inflation. I'm not sure how that
So, let me address the inflation part, because I understand that for me, when I read the reports and all their press release, they've been very efficient in doing press release. But we need them to hear us and ask questions, and we can get feedback. So I know that I don't see how it will break down, it will resolve inflation issues, but I see it dealing with liquidity. So we have excess liquidity. What that means is we have too much cash in circulation. It is a part of inflation, but the inflation that affects many Nigerians is that food products are more expensive and that there's excess liquidity. But this would address the fact that there's so much liquid cash around, which is why they are doing two policies. There are two major policies happening right now. There's a change of currency and there's a restriction on cash transaction and withdrawal. So the change of currency and the combination would help reduce that plenty people carrying Ghana must go of money everywhere. All the Ghana must go they've hidden everywhere becomes useless at the end of this year, at the end of this month, which is a major win for corruption because you cannot carry that money to the bank. You will need to explain where you got the money from. And you need to explain where the money has been hiding.
So that deals with that. I want you to help me with something. Many business owners are complaining that they can't run there. What kind of businesses do you run that you cannot do a transfer? I'm not clear. Maybe I'm the one, I'm not seeing it. But if you own a business that you need cash transactions, please call in. I would really like to hear and get a better understanding because if CBN understands that there are some businesses like that, hopefully maybe they can retweak some of these policies to benefit those people who need it. Are there businesses that actually can run their businesses without cash?
I'm sure that many businesses can within Lagos. My business is largely legal, and I deal with local people, but they do transfer. Most of the laborers that are doing cutting grass and all of that, they are paid 30K, but I do transfer to them. But for them to access that money, it costs them. So when they want to withdraw their money and they complain, they would rather I go and withdraw 300,000 naira cash and give them, because that way, when they get 30K, they are truly getting 30K. They're not paying the POS person to get the money.
On the contrary,
so it is the charges that they are paying that is making them uncomfortable with having to go to the bank because they don't have access to banks. Yeah. So there are two people that are going to benefit from this huge POS, people that run POS machines, and the banks, because for everything you transfer money on, I want to buy pepper now, I'll need to be transferring money because of all of that.
Ade. So Ade, are you there? Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning, Morayo.
Morning.
Now, since you have holding me on,
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Now, my point is this. When they were discussing this on Journalist Hangout yesterday, Central Bank was communicating with them. Last year, on 2 occasions, I said they should invite Central Bank to the office, to your studio, so that we can ask them questions. They didn't come. Now, my point is this. Me, as I'm talking to you, I have 250,000 naira or 500 naira notes, brand new, with me, that I kept in case I come home for hotel. And likewise, all my colleagues in the diaspora. You can imagine how many billions. But Emefiele did not plan for us. He just said everything will be January 31. What's the plan for our people in the diaspora? Nothing. So I love the way the YK expresses our view this morning. That's exactly our view. You have to consider all that thing. Even in London, we spend cash. You go to a small shop, the man will say, if you use this card, I'll charge you 50p. So go to here and get the cash. So you get to use cash. Not to talk of Nigeria, where there's no infrastructure. So they're not thinking about us. So it's a wrong policy. Bring the central bank to your studio. Let's question them, please.
So, Mr. Ade, let me ask you a question. So if you want to buy a car in UK right now, you can take 10,000, whatever. I'm just, when you say they can use cash, I'm just saying.
But even in Nigeria, if you want to buy a car,
you do transfer.
You cannot take the cash. You want to buy a car that is 40 million.
If you have cash,
listen. It is unlikely, it is even unreasonable that if you want to buy a car of 40 million, you carry 40 million to the car place. Even the car place will run. You want an armed robber to come and, in fact, they will even believe you are an armed robber who, once you just drop that cash, they will come and collect the cash from them. So it is the car owner will say, send me the money. Go and pay it to your bank.
What if, I'll come to IK now. So I may give example. I am a kidnapper. I just collected 100 million naira from you. As that 100 million naira, 50 million is my own. And I want to buy my wife 30 million naira car. I'll take that 30 million to the car dealer and I'll buy it because I'm a kidnapper. I've got the cash. And it happens. That's the reality.
And they use it to buy motorcycles.
We are not saying, yes, they buy motorcycles. Yes, that's the reality. You want to say this kind of cash transaction must stop. That's what we're saying.
So what we're saying,
tell the person, the owner of the car, the one that you are buying the car from, that don't collect that cash. Because when you collect that cash, there's no way you can pay that cash in. You have to explain. I'm not even talking about big million or billions of naira transaction. I'm talking about just the day-to-day transaction.
And we will say that the banks have sort of put something in place where there's an amount of money that if
that you can pay in.
When you pay it in, they would ask you more information than normal.
Yes.
And the source of it.
And also, as I understand the policy, there is a limit. You are entitled to cash. Central Bank did not outlaw cash. I think
500K in a month.
500K in a month. That's
no,
a
in a week.
In a
month. It's a month.
Even if it's a week, a month, it doesn't matter. I think it should even be lower than that. Because if you say in a country where the minimum wage is about 50,000 naira, why should your access, even 30, why should access to cash be way more than your minimum wage weekly? Think about it. It's just an avenue for some people to take advantage of that opening. So if they say that you have access to cash for, 100,000 naira a week, I think that already covers your concern. Most people who depend on cash for
our cash
basic
transactions
transfers.
is probably not as
basic
much.
transfers, 100,000 naira, I want to buy tomatoes, I want to do this. Isn't it sufficient?
Yes, and for us, it's also important for us not to completely throw away the policy.
Yeah.
As you have mentioned, we can see in many ways that it can help us. We're constantly talking about insecurity and all the kidnapping that is happening. And if this policy addresses that, I think we are better for it. But we would also agree that it's a Nigerian thing. When we don't carry Nigerians along. We don't carry the Nigerians on the ground along. We sit down with some people somewhere and they speak English and they say things from only their point of view. We need to find out different ways to engage the Nigerian on the ground before we make announcements and proclamations and, policies. So that we don't come here, because the CBN policy today have had to tweak it a bit because of the backlash from Nigerians. So let it be such a serious thing that you would have put everything in place first before you come out and be giving out policies.
Let me take this call from Abuja. Good morning. Are you there, Peter?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Okay, yes. I want to just reflect on what Topper said regarding those people, the assistants that they pay money to and they have issues withdrawing them. Basically, what we can do, whenever you're sending money like that, people working for you, maybe 30,000 you pay monthly, you can add up maybe like a ticket, 200 naira, 200 naira to enable them withdraw them. That will go a long way.
Yes.
Instead of you paying them 30,000 naira and they still find it difficult to withdraw them. So the CBN policy is a welcome development.
Thank you, Peter.
If she's paying 50 people now, and she adds that to 200 naira times 50, how much is that? So she now, because she wants to clear land, she's now the one that is going to lose the cost, and it is the banker, the owners of the banks, and which is my
collect that money from me, reverse it.
My problem is, let it favor me, not only the bankers. It is my money I'm putting in the bank. One. You see, I don't even have a problem with them. My own problem is, okay, you want to change money. That is my own first problem right now. Is you want to change money. You want to color money, not even change money. You want to color money. And then you don't even have the money that you have colored because you are making money. Inside the paper today, CBN says all banks. But I was listening to the radio this morning, and a banker called. He says, I want to remain anonymous. He said, our banks don't have money.
New money,
They said they are giving us old money. When we go and collect money, they give us old money. He said, from Central Bank, he has a friend. He said this one, he doesn't have proof, but his friend that works in Central Bank says that it is the big men that are collecting the new money. Okay, because yesterday, I went specially, and this is my problem with Central Bank. Are you efficient? No. You seem to be inefficient. You have said from January 15, everybody should change money. Somebody has called now, they have said, because like in England, when they change money, when you go, you have like 1 or 2 years, because if you're outside the country, you can still take your money and take it to a bank, and they will collect your old money and give you new money. Because like there are millions of Nigerians outside who collect, because when they come back, they need cash. Maybe they don't have account here.
People at the...
True.
So I was saying, I sent 3 different banks yesterday. Go and collect me money from the ATM. Everybody came back. I was as this transaction, I was sending you people pictures, old money.
Let me take this call from Praise. Hold it for a minute. Good morning, Praise from Port Harcourt. Are you there? You're live.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I just want to contribute to what you people have discussed.
Yes, please.
I went to a supermarket, bought a juice, bought of 45,000, and I do transfer. The supermarket said that they want to confirm the payment before I can go with the juice. And I waited for that 1 hour. They can't confirm the payment. I leave the goods. I came back in the evening before they can charge me. For me, if I need that, that I need something to do with that, what I purchased from that supermarket. How can I wait from morning to night to get my goods that they are debit my account? And the supermarket said that until they confirm the payment before they can release the goods.
Was it, sir, Mr. Prince, was it an electronic problem or that the person to confirm was not around? You know how this guy did all sort of things.
The supermarket said that until they confirm the payment, and they cannot confirm the payment, the evening time, something that...
That's true.
Okay, thank you very much.
Especially during the Christmas.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you. It's just that...
That's our story every day. Especially during the holiday period. You go to all these big malls to shop. They will beg you, please, can you go outside and get cash because the POS are not working because there's no network.
Yeah. So I'd like to just contribute to that. It's a question of trust. I'm sure there are millions of transactions. That's just one of them. Because it happens to me sometimes, but I know it's not the daily occurrence. Most of the time, you transfer, it's received. Now, because there's no trust in the system, the central bank should build trust. And if you have your NIN, you have a bank account, you have a bank account. Why can't you just let me go? The appropriate laws should be passed that if you do this and you didn't have money in the account, there should be sanctions. I mean, it's just about distrust in the system. Because why shouldn't, okay, well, I have my NIN, this is my bank account, this evidence that this money has gone, and I should be allowed to go.
Yeah, because other people can also, with prosecution is a bit, very slow. People can take your ATM card and use it for a transaction, and then you cannot, some people even show you fake proof of transaction. They show you a fake proof of transaction. So until I confirm from my end before I can issue you the product. There are things that I feel we should talk about in this platform. Imagine if you want to send 10,000 naira to 20 people and I'm using my phone. Because it's 10,000, they don't charge me 26, they charge me 10 naira something. The charges that we are paying is a whole lot. It was reviewed at a time, I think in 2021, there was a review downward because before it was a flat 26 naira. But now they did, if it's not up to this amount. But with this policy, many people are forced by your policy to do online transaction. The wise thing to do is to review it further so that you don't, because of bank charges, enrich some people and impoverish other people.
So I agree with you.
CBN needs to review the charges.
Must be reviewed,
yes,
as we've discussed.
from POS to online transactions.
Because if you want us to go cashless, it means that you'll be benefiting so much more from the cashless society such that you need to ensure that you reduce the charges for me to trust you.